Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm going to be giving you part 4 of What If Godlike Naruto Was Awakened by Kushina. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new series over on Anime King 2 of What If Naruto Was Recreated by the Shinigami, and enjoy that guys. And also over in Making 3, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto was created by the Uzumaki clan, so go ahead and enjoy that guys. And also remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Making family. Yes, I indeed have 3 channels, and Making 2 and Making 3, which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy, so go ahead, click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And yeah guys, so without further ado, what do you say we jump right into this new episode? Don't forget to turn on the bell notification. So yeah, let's begin this new episode. Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Naruto stepped into the room that the Uzumakis had kept preserved for the Odas. As he read about the situation regarding the wall, there was a tablet in there as he read on it. It was one of his clan's members who said that they were being hunted by the Traitor, as he proved to be rather slippery. Naruto didn't know why he stayed in his sleep for so long. Usually members come through it in days or probably weeks. Some didn't come through at all, but Naruto felt himself merging with the spiritual world, and he stayed for so long he didn't know why. He was asleep while his clan was in peril, as he was angry. But he knew exactly who the traitor was. And there was also an artifact that the traitor wanted, but the man on the tablet said that he had hidden it away, as only Naruto was supposed to be the one to wield it. But at the moment Naruto didn't have the other tablet, so he didn't know where it was. So with that, they made their way back upstairs, as Naruto told Kenjin about the Uzumakis and the Odas having an ally so long ago, as it made sense now as they spoke for a while. Kushina heard that he was going to leave, as she was rather sad. Her mother though had other ideas, as she wanted Kushina to go with Naruto, as her father was against this at first, but as he thought about it, with the current rise and the only one that he could actually trust with his daughter's safety, her being the heir to Uza, was actually Naruto with the strength that he possessed. So she agreed to go. As she was happy, she had to thank her mother. Her mother kept on teasing her though about Naruto. That made her blush when she looked at him. At Konoha, Hiruzen Sarutobi was the one that did this, as Kushina's mother had flushed away the snake and the toad using the water currents of Uza, as Jiraiya and Orochimaru was the target to go down there and kidnap Kushina. The Nine-Tailed told her Mito had died because of Hiruzen sending one of his envoys as well to erect the information from her brain on how to enter Uza. Hiruzen was not a good person at all, as he was cutting the ties with Uza, but he failed spectacularly. It was great, he failed. He did not know that the information was out that he was the culprit behind this. So for now he remained quiet about the situation, as he spoke to them and told them to left. The envoy then came in and filled him in about this person that was able to decimate the entire forces, which he was finding hard to rather believe. But he sent the envoy to gather more information. It was a special envoy who was wearing a mask. Tsunade Senju was disguised, or the clone was disguised as a bird, got all of the information as Tsunade was in tears. Her grandmother told her many things, and she thought that her grandmother was just getting delusional on her deathbed, but she was right. Her grandmother also gave her 2 strange artifacts and told her to keep them with her. The person that they belonged to would show himself, and she would just know that it was him. Tsunade Senju made up her mind right there and then to leave Konoha, as she wouldn't be coming back, she was going to Uza. As once she showed them this, she would be allowed inside. While that was going on, Naruto was training Kushina, as he had agreed to train her. She was surprised when he simply caught her chain and crushed it. Once again, he's shown that he is on a completely different level when it comes to their fighting styles. But Kushina was unpredictable, and she was also fast and crafty in the battlefield. She was able to think on her feet, and that was a good trait. So yeah guys, that's basically that's where we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out yourself. And also guys, remember to go ahead and check out the other what ifs over in the other channels and enjoy those. Link will be down in the description. And yeah, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Wait, what am I saying? Let's get right into this new episode guys. Begin now. Naruto watches Kushina make her way off, as he'll be leaving by dawn. As he saw steams coming from the small cuts on her body, the beast inside was healing her already. He learned a long time ago that there was a secondary chakra source inside of Kushina. That is why Kenshin spoke of something as Jinjulki, a human sacrifice. It was nowhere near as malicious as a Jobi, but it was indeed powerful. What in the world did the sage do while he was in his slumber? However, the beast has done nothing to Kushina. It has only so far healed her. So for now, he will stay his hand. Agreed. Wouldn't want your little protege scarred for life by something that is anyway in shape or form connected to that horrible Ten Tails, now would we? As Naruto heard his friend spoke in his inner world. But he didn't feel like arguing right now. There were more matters to attend to. Naruto turned his head. Since when he first arrived at Odinokuni, he felt the same feeling. When he found the first tablet, just like in Uza. But as he and Kushina drew closer, he could feel something lurking in the mist of the signal. It was an Enj signature that seemed familiar to him, but it also seemed alive in the very ground beneath him. It was malicious, dark, full of hatred to the point of no return. At first he thought that it was a dark spirit, but it wasn't. Seeing that whatever this was, it held a much bigger threat than some simple dark spirit. The very spiritual realms scream. In the vast corners of the depths of the spiritual realm, they scream and wail in agony at this malicious aura. The encroaching darkness was familiar to him, but he just couldn't put his finger on what it was. But whatever it was right there with the tablet. It seems this trip is gonna be more eventful than I thought, he said to himself. Time skip. Kenshin Uzumaki could not keep the smile off his face as he looked down towards the reports lying on his decks. Reports that has been given already, making his day better and better. It has been nearly 2 full weeks since the attack on his home, and since his daughter left with the man that saved them from complete extinction. Since that, Kenshin has called back everyone, the Kunoichis and Shinobis, as he placed the village in a lockdown. After this, his wife and the elders and himself started on rebuilding the defensive force, as it was needed to be put down and rebuilt back from the feet up, given that the other nations were able to break in because of the information being leaked about their security. The first thing was the whirlpool on the seafloor. If they tried to tamper with the seal underneath now, it was overlapped with a second, and a third, and a fourth, and a fifth. They wouldn't be coming back up. This person had to be a seal master to break that seal, and even if they got to the third, they would be electrocuted. They also found the area that Mito was able to come through to allow his Kir forces to enter the village, and they were able to patch it up rather well. It was because of the pathway of the water going through the village, but they decided to put grills there so the water could rush through without having that huge section open. The seals on the gate would negate any foreign chakra from entering through it, not to mention a regeneration physical seal if any damage was brought on the seal intact. These were only a small part that they have got into already. They were doing something much more bigger to make sure that something like this never happens again. More barriers were erupted around the village. Twin barriers adapted into each barriers to negate foreign chakra signatures. His wife also told him about what happened between them when they were down in the shelters, about the snake and the toad. But there was no need to worry about that. This time if anyone tried to come down there, they won't be going back into the ocean. The turbulent water pressure would crush their bodies this time, before they even reach sea level. Despite all the changes though and the improvement here of this temple, while we're nearing completion, still we have Konoha to deal with. If I know Hiruzen would try to do something, anything to cover it up, and with his moniker as professor, he would try to make it seem like Konoha had nothing to do with it. His eyes hardened as the attack on his home rushed back to his mind. The confession that he got from Nida that Hiruzen was involved in the attack to put a ceasefire to the war. Years, decades of alliance broken because of this. But the worst thing was the endangerment of his daughter, Kushina. For that, none of this shall be forgiven. Hiruzen would not be forgiven. Konoha will not be forgiven. nor its leaders. The older generation of his clan knew that something was going to happen, so they were already training their oldest for the eventual clash. Then came the matter with his family. With Kushina away and her safety secured, him and his wife was focused on Ursa's training, as Ursa was taking her training much more seriously, and the results was bearing fruit. Naturally, Ursa was like Kushina, but also at the same time, she was very different. While she was adequate in close combat, her true talent flourished in the use of Kinjutsu, Fuinjutsu, which was natural aspect for all Uzumakis, and she has talent in Genjutsu and Ninjutsu, so they had developed a training schedule for her, as they switched out different training for her sensei, either him or his wife taking the role. She had progressed well over the past 2 weeks. It also helped that she was much calmer than her sister as well. His wife was going a bit overboard in his case, but his daughter wanted it. She had restrained her chakra down to the minimum so that she would stretch her chakra limits, and not to mention apply seals in her body that would weigh her down on each limbs. His wife was sadistic, even their own children. When it came to training, she was a demon in flesh. It was a good thing that Ursa was still too young for the more advanced stuff, but it was helping because she was growing fast. As one of his personal envoy arrived in the room, "Report," Kenshin said. "Uzukage-sama, we have detained a trespasser trying to enter our lands. She didn't even show a sign of restraint once we found her. Her vessel was crushed, and she was washed up on the shores. Normally, we would have filed this in the report, but the person in question is important." Kenshin looked up. While he heard that the whirlpool was working, he was surprised that someone was able to escape the torrents of the whirlpool. And who is this important trespasser? And why is she being not taken to the interrogation unit? "It is Tsunade Senju, sir. And she's asked to speak with you personally. She bears the scroll with the Uzumaki clan head symbol on it." Kenshin's eyes widened in shock. Senju Tsunade? Here? It was rare for the woman to ever be alone, without her teammates, and not to mention she was the last Senju in the entire world. Hiruzen barely ever let her leave Konoha, and especially in this territory, which was hostile to Konoha Shinobi. Why would he let her come here alone? But if she was here alone, did that mean why would she betray Konoha? That was a home her grandfather built with the help of Uchiha Madara, along with the Uzumaki clan support in instructing the insignia. Whatever the information is, I will hear it out, and from then, I will judge what to do with her. He looked towards Anvu. "Go and bring her here and make sure you're hidden. I do not want the rest of clan to see her until I get all of the information." The man nodded as he understood as he flashed away. It took 3 short minutes. As he returned back in the room, in a swirl, the envoy reported back in, with 3 more of his guards. Her wrists was tied with suppression seals, and chakra suppressing seals over her body as well. While he had never met a young girl, he saw the resemblance between her and Mito. It was uncanny. Her trip here seemed to have been a test in one, as he could see the bruise and cuts over her body. And she looked physically and mentally exhausted, as he looked directly in her eyes. "Mind giving me a reason why I have yet to end your life, Senju Tsunade," he said. "It best be a good one, because right now you're in a hostile territory. So speak. Speak quickly, my patient is thinning," he said. Tsunade flinched, but she reached into her pack. Her hands were still bound, but she reached down. The envoys watched her carefully, but they did not react yet. Kenshin would not hesitate to remove her head from her shoulders if she was trying to assassinate him, as he remained calm, as she pulled out the scroll that was given to her by Mito as she looked back up. His eyes lighted up as he saw the golden insignia, as he looked towards Tsunade. If she had this with her. "Serpent, shark, turtle, whale, leave us," he said. The envoys looked at him as they nodded, before they vanished out of the room, leaving Tsunade there. "My grandmother, or as she known here, Mito Uzumaki, told me the only way to see you was to give you this scroll." As he heard the sadness in her tone, had something happened, he thought. Well, she was right in the first part, child, because what you have here is the honorate locket that was bestowed upon each Uzumaki clan head. It only certified that this is Mito because he stepped forward and turned over. Her initials are engraved, as there was a UM on the back. But that does not mean it would excuse your reason for trespassing on our lands. Whatever is in this scroll, you better pray that it can save your life, he said as he gave her a stern look. Tsunade shivered from the sheer ruthlessness in the man's eyes. They were so much greater than her sensei's. The longer she stared, she felt like she was shrinking down into a small, petulant child in front of him. It was like she was in the presence of someone who was on the level of her grandfather Hoshirama Senju. Kami, you've made a terrifying enemy, Hiruzen. She would never refer to him as sensei once again, after what he did, as he had destroyed any respect that she held towards him. As Kenshin opened his scroll, Dear Uzumaki Kenshin, you may be wondering what's happening. Why is Nadia here giving you the scroll instead of myself? First, undoubtedly, the clan has been attacked by whoever Hiruzen allied with. You may wonder how they got past our defenses. I shall explain soon. First, let me just say when you read this, I have passed on from this world. No doubt Konoha leaders are keeping my death hidden, but you must know my death has occurred. Because in my death I have failed the clan. I die realizing all the lies, all the deceits, and the betrayal Konoha has covered up, and being too late to do anything about it. I too became a victim in Hiruzen campaign, of having Konoha became the idealistic, major superpower. He used a particular shinobi with abilities that far surpassed the normal boundary. He wasn't a Yamanaka, but his abilities were too strong. He invaded my mind and took our secrets. That has been stored in my mind. I was able to find out his motives. It exerted all of my willpower. Hiruzen wanted all these secrets so he could give them to our enemy, to make a deal. No doubt her home was attacked, but it brought me so much relief that her home survived. In short, Konoha has betrayed the Uzumaki clan. Their betrayal ran as deep as when the foundings of the alliance was first formed between the Uzumaki and the Senju. The teaching of Hoshirama has left an imprint on his past going down, making them believe that they should do anything, whatever it takes, to make sure Konoha succeed, even betraying their own allies. I have lost all faith in them, and it was my greatest failure to know I could not stop it. But while I fail, Tsunade showed her mercy as one last wish from our old woman. She knew of none of this until now. Hiruzen kept everything away from her, and I give you my word she wants to hold to the Uzumaki ways. If she has come, she has forsaken Konoha so she could be with the only family that she has left. Please, show her mercy. I grow tired. My time is coming close. I must rest now. Sincerely, Mito Uzumaki. Tsunade glanced towards the man. He was not moving or anything. His eyes were firmly set on the scroll. The ear and the back of her neck were standing up, as goosebumps came on her skin, as the place was getting tense. As he put down the scroll and lowered his head. Not to her. Rest in peace, Mito-sama, he said. He lifted his head up and Tsunade saw his face. The look of absolute rage on his face. His eyes were glazed over with so much inferno of anger as he came to terms with what was written in the scroll. Then with some incredible amount of control he reined it all back in as he turned. Anvus, two of his shinobis appear in the office. As Tsunade flinched, take Tsunade Senju to her detainment cell until I've decided what to do with her. Tsunade offered no restraint, as she knew that any attempt that she might make would be offered with lethal force. As he watched him leave, he tapped the seal on his decks, causing them to light up. Then seconds later, a number of swirling water masks came in. The water evaporator revealed 5 people. 3 men and 2 women. They were elders. Thank you for coming, honorable elders. But it's time I made my decision regarding Konoha. I have confirmed evidence of their betrayal. I have here a scroll, given to me personally by Tsunade Senju, the granddaughter of Uzumaki Mito. The contents inside are very staggering, he said. The elder's eyes bulged on this piece of information, but from the look, it was nothing good. First off, Mito-sama has passed away. But he confirmed our suspicion that Hiruzen did something to her to get our village secrets. He used a shinobi to probe her mind to steal these secrets in her state of weakness. As he tossed the scroll, one of them caught and unfurled it as they all started to read. By the end of it, Kenshin could see the disgust, the outrage, the vile looks on their faces. How dare he, one of them muttered. As Kenshin nodded, there is no mistaking that this isn't Mito's handwriting. Her chakra is in the oil that she used, another elder said, as they turned their attention to Kenshin. What should we do, Uzukage-sama? They could literally feel the rage rolling off him. Prepare our forces. It is time that the Uzumaki clan took a stand in this war. Konoha will suffer for this. But first, Konoha will realize the mistake that they made. I want a message sent towards Konoha and the Fire Daimyo as well. I want a summon to be made in exactly 2 months from now. We will strip them of their pride. We will tear all they hold in high regard. And when they are on their knees begging for mercy, we will strike them down with all the fury of the entire Uzumaki clan. This I swear! The elders smiled in pride from their leader's words. It was time the Uzumaki get off the defensive and go on the offensive. No longer would they remain quiet. Meanwhile, at the same time with Kushina, as she bandages herself up, she winks. For the past 2 weeks, they have been going at it brutally. As she came to nickname him Devil in the human flesh. All time that she showed improvement, he always upped the ante, making it just that much more difficult to push her to her absolute limits every single day. But gaining his recognition to show that she has improved was hard to get, but she got it more than once now, and that made her happy. But still, her improvement has grown tremendously in these past 2 weeks. No longer did she feel like a weak, helpless girl, but she felt like a kunoichi that would make her clan proud, and she would also make Naruto proud of her as well. But he was lecturing her about her lack of resolve, of ending the life of her foes. She's never killed anyone before, but he told her in this world it was necessary. He told her it was her lack of instinct to kill that was holding her back. One day, he told her she would learn that killing is a necessity. On the battlefield, no one would show their enemy mercy. They would just go to cut them down, and she would have to have the resolve to cut them down, or she would die. He laid it out plain and simple in front of her. Maybe living a life of the Uzumaki heiress was regressing her from the rest of the world. He was right. She would soon have to kill so that she need to survive. She thought to herself. The world was cruel as she remembered when she was taken by those guys from Como, when they hunted her down like she was some kind of prey. The thought still made her shiver, but the idea to kill someone to end the life of another, as Naruto made it look easy, like he has been doing it since he was able to walk. Then again, she didn't know that much about his past. That was on her list as well, to know more about him. But still, she was getting stronger, as their sparring was lasting a bit longer even though it always ended, with her face first in the ground. As she glanced up towards him, he's been heading in the same direction since they entered Odinokune. Her thoughts were indeed justified as Naruto felt the malicious aura with each step that he took. His eyes narrowed towards a mountain in the far distance, and whatever it was getting stronger. His hand rested on his katana as he made contact with his old friend. This energy seemed familiar, does it not? Yes, it does, at first. It seemed like a dark spirit, but the more we get closer, that seemed not to be the case. As Naruto agreed with him, if I have to wager, it could possibly be that troublesome demon again, Naruto said. His inner tenant frowned a bit. Yes, it sure feel like it, but didn't we deal with him before? You did tear his body from his soul and separate the two. Who would be foolish enough to release him once again? As Naruto internally scoffed. You forget, old friend, mortals never change even as time passes, and while some might not be as those that are willing to do anything for power, some are easily corrupted. I wouldn't be surprised if a demon reached out to a mortal and offer him power and escape of him returning back. True, but you speak like you're no longer mortal, the boy said, as Naruto was silent for a moment, until he spoke once again. You know as well what I am right now, what I did as the heir of the Oda clan, what I have done for the clan's sake. I have bathed in the blood of countless. I have ended the lives equivalent to an entire civilization. I have committed atrocities numerous times over and over. I have ended the life of children, mothers, husbands, lovers, parents, all to protect my clan. And do I regret what I have done? No. But I cannot be called human anymore, he said in a tone of finality, as his partner realized he was done with the conversation. But his partner glanced through his eyes as he saw the redhead by his side. Perhaps, but I think you'll be finding something worthy to fight for even if you become a monster in the process. Even when you obtain your goal, you find something more precious to fight for and protect at all costs. And that thing is much closer than you think, the inner spirit said. Naruto shook his head as he focused back on the mountain that him and Kushina walk on, a distance ahead of them. Do you really think that Yoshin-sama will be able to seal the demon back in its prison? Two guards were walking. I mean, this thing has been in prison for so many years. Who knows what it's been doing since imprisonment? The other guard said. Maybe. But Yoshin-sama has proven to be an exceptional priestess in the arts of exorcising demons. This one, however, was said to be on a completely different level. It was said to try and destroy the world a long time ago. Its power, no matter how sealed, cannot be underestimated. As the other one nodded, let's hope Yoshin-sama can imprison it before it released whatever power it holds. As the other guard frowned as he spoke, I know, but Yoshin-sama has proven her ability in exercising demons, so maybe she won't have much trouble with this one. It's not like the demon is completely released, right? But his friend remained silent. It took him a while. Whoever it was that weakened Seal knew what he was doing, because he was able to bypass the ancient barrier. He was also able to bypass the defenses and got to the heart of the demon prison. That was 3 hours after we received word from our scout, who died shortly after his wounds. To say how much the Seal has weakened, I am not sure, but I am saying that is far past normal damage. As the other guard frowned at that. If that is the case, then wouldn't she have to use? He paused, as he saw something off in the distance. As the fog cleared away, he saw that it was 2 people, one of which was a young girl who looked to be 13 to 14 years old. Long red hair, violet eyes. Her clothing looked a bit foreign, with the red colors all over it, but the insignia seemed familiar. But her companion, though, he looked quite threatening, with those eyes of his. As they noticed a katana at his waist, but the man looked like he was some sort of noble, with the way he was dressed, or perhaps a daimyo of sorts. The first guard pulled his weapon. Halt! You are trespassing on sacred grounds. The blonde merely vanished as he appeared in front of them. He swept his hand over their face. Sleep, he said. Their eyes drooped as they fell to the ground, lost in land of dreams. Kushina rushed over. What did you do to them, Naruto-sensei? As she poked one of them with a stick. But they were not waking up. I enforced my spiritual energy on them, making their minds believe they hadn't slept in days. Therefore they will fall asleep on their feet, to give us more time to get going. Now let us move before that troublesome demon is released. Kushina wasn't all at his technique, he just put them to sleep. As Naruto glanced up, there were 3 talismans. The first one is burned away, and the other 2 were half burned. As him and Kushina delved into the darkness of the cave, as Naruto felt numerous signatures within. Kushina, be wary. There are many signatures within, and they will possibly be hostile, he said. As she nodded, she was determined. He was testing her to see if she was going to be ready, if she would have the courage to strike them down. I understand, Sensei, she said, her eyes hardening. As Naruto felt the other tablet, he could feel it. It was there. As he stepped forward straight in, Kushina's senses were overwhelmed by sulfur as she stepped inside, as there was a lot of lava all around the area. Strange ceiling tags that she's never seen before. No, that was surprising. But what she saw shocked her. I want my mom! Where am I? Where's Ji-san? Cries that came from the children that were situated in 5 iron cages. Stopping the cages from falling to lava was a simple iron chain that if broke, they would drop right in the lava. As Naruto noticed 2 figures confronting one another, and the mercenaries all around. Oh, calm, said Kushina. Calm yourself, Kushina, said Naruto. Acting rashly, we'll only alert them to our presence. For now, stick to the shadows and take out the mercenaries one by one. I will deal with the ringleader. She nodded as she made her way towards the right as Naruto stepped forward. As he arrived, the mercenaries all snapped their head around, except for the ones on the other side. We have an intruder! As they released their bow and arrows and fired towards Naruto from all angles. Jinokuru, said Naruto, as red flames exploded all around him, burning the arrows before they could even come close. As he saw the 2 figures, one of them caused his gaze an arrow. Meanwhile, Yoshina, priestess, found herself in a troublesome bind. The rumors started about children being abducted all over the land. The villagers thought it was the work of a demon hunting the children and taking them away. She investigated the matter, but later on she felt like it was hopeless. She felt something coming from the mountain of Funehe. Demonic energy. Despite the protests of her bodyguards, she left. She made her way towards a mountain that was being kept safe for centuries now by her ancestors. The cave barrier was broken, and something was happening inside. Someone was trying to break free the demon that was inside. She never thought that was possible, but it seems like he has been working on this for years now. Hired mercenaries kept any stragglers from coming inside, and their numbers were vast, around 50 in total. But this man that was doing this, he couldn't be human. He couldn't possibly be human. Her arms and legs were bound in mid-air by talisman, keeping her from moving. Her robe was torn in places from the battle with the man in front of her. How dare you! You're a monster, she said. As she heard the children cry, it angered her. The man smiled. He stood at 6 feet. He had brown hair, pale skin, and a goatee. He wore simple clothing, grey and black. Monster? Perhaps I am, he said. But when I release Moriyo-sama from his imprisonment, I will become the ruler in his name, and blanket this world in the everlasting darkness. And you, my dear, would merely be a footnote in the rise of Moriyo. As he turned towards the seal, he heard a yell. Intruders! We have intruders! The man turned as his eyes met, with those cold blue eyes. As Naruto narrowed his gaze, we meet again, son of the morbid fell. Meanwhile, with Kushina, she knew that Naruto was really powerful, but she still worried for him, as she saw him step out of that onslaught of arrows. He wasn't even phased. She made her way down and she saw the mercenaries that were keeping the mechanism that held up the chains. As she followed with her gaze, she pulled a kunai out. The third mercenary were moving. As he was about to pass her, she gripped her kunai tightly as she grit her teeth. She jumped out and slammed the man in the wall and pushed the kunai in his chest. She used her other hand to cover his mouth. As he died right in her grasp, she pulled his body in the shadows of the cracks and pushed it down to hide his body. She looked towards her hand, the blood dripping on it. As her hand trembled, remember, it's kill or be killed to survive in this world. You need to kill to survive. Just remember, when you have made the first kill, just think of what would happen if you left that person alive. He would do far worse to you than what death could offer. She gripped her kunai as she calmed her breathing. As she sneaked back in the shadows, she knew there was far worse things than death. As she kept on repeating in her head over and over Naruto mantra as she made her way down, sneaking past. As she arrived behind the second guard, the first guard turned his head as she jumped and gripped his throat before she sliced it open and pulled him back. She moved towards the final one, but he was too close to the edge. The others would notice, so she threw a rock. He made his way over. What's that? As he looked over, he shrugged as he moved. As Kushina dropped from the ceiling and pierced the kunai directly through his skull, as she pulled his body in darkness as well. She looked up towards the cages. There were 4 more left. Meanwhile, with Naruto, "You," the man said, as he glared at Naruto with unhidden rage. The very sight of Naruto made the man's blood boil, especially after what he just said. "I see that you're continuing your father's work. Tell me, spawn of morbid fell, how do you live for so long?" The man grinned at that in a mocking manner, as he then started to chuckle, throwing his head back and laugh. "I haven't been called it in a long time, but I go by the name Yumi now, in service of Moro-sama. How I live is because of the great Moro-sama. But I could ask you the same thing, Oda," he said. I hissed in his tone. Yoshina's eyes went wide as she heard the name Oda. "That can't be. It was said that he died a long time ago." The man then turned towards the princess with that insane look in his eyes. "Princess Yoshina, if you think I'm a monster, then you should be honored because you're looking at the devil itself. The things that he has done made everything I've seen like a walk in the park. But even now my master voiced rage at seeing his old enemy once again, as he felt his master roaring in his mind. Let me speak to that wretched Oda." "Of course, Moriyo-sama." His head dropped. Purple demonic energy seeped out of his body as his head shot back up. A smile on his face, as he chuckled. "Moro," said Naruto. "Oda Naruto. It seems we meet again, my old enemy." Yoshina was confused, but they ignored her. "I thought after dealing with you in the past you would have given up on escaping, but it seems I've made a mistake in letting that spawn of morbid fell alive," said Naruto. As Moriyo gave a chuckle, a deep menacing chuckle. "That you have, even after tearing my body away from my soul. Did you really believe I wouldn't gain a link between any of morbid children because of your stupid seals on me, saying that his bloodline is directly linked to me? It was good to know that out of all of them that you kill, one of them at least survived. And thanks to me, I've let him live for all these centuries. He's been working tirelessly to free me from this prison. And I have to say he makes for a very good vessel," he said as he cracked his knuckles. As Yoshina was shocked, this blonde, this Naruto was the one that defeated him in the very beginning. He was the one that set the responsibility of her ancestor to guard the prisons for all these centuries. If that is the case, how is he alive? And how is he so young? Naruto glanced towards the cage, before he glanced towards lava as he felt the demonic power. "I see the son of Morbid fell. Follow his father in his demonic necromancy rituals. I feel the deaths of many children he sacrificed to you, their cries echoing anguish, asking, screaming for their loved ones." "That's right. Yumi has been sacrificing all of these children to keep my power in perfect condition. So once I'm free, I cannot be stopped. Not even by you. The souls of the mortal children are trapped eternally in my stomach. But we couldn't have done all of this without that man involvement. As Naruto's eyes narrowed dangerously. I see. So you did have help from that wretched traitor. That will make it more fulfilling to let him know I live. When I erase you, said Naruto. All those years ago you tried to destroy the world, starting in my clan territory. I was sent by my father to put you down. I made a mistake, not making sure all of the spawns of Morbid perish at my blade. But now, said Naruto, his voice growing colder and deadly. As he gripped the palm of his katana, tentacle of dark black and purple energy started to leak from Morio's body. As Naruto's eyes were glowing ominously. Now I will rectify my mistake. This time I will end you. I will torture your body until not a speck of ashes left. I will personally see to it that your soul and the son of Morbid fell child is sent directly to the Shinigami itself. Naruto pulled his blade and swing it. A massive burst of flame came out. Morio gathered dark engines, he launched it as well. The two attacks collided. Yoshina screamed as a massive explosion went off. As she fell, she dropped, but not that hard. Luckily, she was close to the ground. Priestess, it will be in the best of your health to leave, otherwise you will die. If you stay near our battle, said Naruto. Yoshina couldn't help but frown. She was raised since birth to exercise demon, and if a need ever arose to exercise Morio in battle. Now she was being denied her duty by this blonde man, who faced Morio alone. But she was silenced, because this time when he spoke, his voice brought down so much pressure that she felt chills run down her spine. He looked towards her, she couldn't even breathe. I said, "Be gone, child." It was at that moment Yoshina knew that she was a liability in this battle. As she fled, "Have you gotten soft, Oda? What happened to the man that tore me apart with his bare arms? Has all these years of sleep made you soft? Even perhaps weak?" asked Morio. Naruto appeared in front of the man. "You speak too much," as he grabbed his face and lifted him up. The entire chasm exploded when he dropped him. Naruto gripped his head and spun and threw him. His body slammed into the chamber wall. As Naruto felt more of the mercenary life perish. It seems Kushina has finally come to terms with killing. Morio flashed in front of Naruto as he brought his leg down. It was coated in a purple energy as Naruto caught it. A massive shockwave spread from the two things colliding. But Naruto gripped the leg and spun him around. He then proceeded to lift him off the ground and bashed his head in it. He then drove his fist and shattered his ribcage. The body puked up blood as Naruto threw it into the wall once more, face first. As the man got back up and jumped towards him, slashing, Naruto stepped back, avoiding all the slashes before he slashed twice. A massive X was carved into Yomi's chest. Naruto then swung his fist and crushed his jaw before he slammed his fist under his chin and brought those bones up right into his face as blood splattered everywhere. He then proceeded to jump and kick him right in the skull, his head smashing into the earth. As Naruto picked him up by one leg before he threw him down the lava below them. As Naruto waited for him to come back up, tentacle of darkness shot out from the lava, going in all different directions. It pierced everything in his path. He then heard the sound of a bending metal. As he saw one of the tentacles wrapped around the chain, he leaped forward, but a dozen more leaped towards him as he sliced them up. But the chain popped as the cage fell right into the lava. The children screaming coming out as they were swallowed up by the lava, further empowering Morio. The sheer sight of the look on their faces as they were melted away caused Naruto to grip his katana so tight, blood started to drip, running down his blade. As he felt the power of Yomi rise and the demon come, Yomi burst out of the lava, his body regenerating from single bones coming up, flesh knitting back together. Multiple tentacles came from his back. He turned towards Kushina, who was fighting off the mercenaries. "Is that whelp with you?" She holds a piece of a jewelry within her. "Is she perhaps your student? I wonder what will happen if she were to die." As Kushina was obliviously her back turned as a drill made from all the tentacles were shot towards her. Meanwhile, a few minutes earlier, as Kushina was killing, she was pushing down her feelings and going through with it. She did not know how the mechanism worked. She didn't want to accidentally make the children fall in. As she moved, as she took them down, this was the best thing to do, so that there wouldn't be anyone to interrupt her. As she lashed out with her chain, she then saw a few of the mercenaries step back away from her. As she turned, her eyes went wide in fear when she saw a drill-like thing instance away from her. There was only a few words that she could say. "I'm sorry, Sensei, but I failed you." As she closed her eyes expecting pain, but she felt nothing. As she saw Naruto stand in front of her, she looked around him as she saw that he held on to that same drill, but his hands were covered in the most darkest flame that she has ever seen him produce. But still, he gripped it tightly. "Kushina, leave," he said. "The children are gone, and the fight between me and the demon is about to get too dangerous. Go, get out of here." "But I can't just let you fight them all, Kushina." "I'm not asking. I'm ordering you, as your sensei. Leave this mountain," he said. His voice was so ominous and dark. "And don't you dare look back. I cannot fight with your life in risk in the process. Now, run!" She knew that she would be dead if he wasn't here. She wasn't strong enough to face these guys. She had to leave, fine. But be safe. "Please be safe," she said, as she ran off as fast as possible. As Morio watched Naruto as the place started to get hotter and hotter. And it was not the lava. As Naruto here shadowed his eyes. "Oi!" One of the mercenaries shouted, "The kid is getting away! Get her!" They tried to move as Naruto raised his other hand and snapped his finger, seeing a spark. They screamed as their bodies exploded in flames. Their flesh melted away, their bones turned black and brittle and broke. Morio laughed. "So, you ready to fight then?" he said. As Naruto looked up Morio paused as he saw Naruto's eyes. The look in Naruto's eyes could make almost anyone else drop to their knees in fear. As he realized something was very, very, very wrong. As Naruto pulled the tentacles, Morio was sent sailing towards him. As Naruto gripped his throat. "Morio, you made a terrible mistake. At the beginning, I was just gonna rip your soul to pieces so the Shinigami will have a hard time reforming you again, but now, as you tried to kill my apprentice, you threw your very existence away. I am going to make you feel pain you never felt before. I am going to burn your very existence from the presence." As Naruto threw him with a single hand, and yet his body hit the wall with such force it crumbled. As Naruto's body started to release intense steam, the air itself started to waver. The air seemed like it was on fire. The place seemed like it was going to combust as he gripped his blade. Morio started to sweat as Naruto placed his katana down towards the ground, but yet there was no flame on Naruto's katana, but Morio was sweating. What is this heat?" As Naruto heard the voice of his partner in his mind. "Let's make this fool realize his mistake for trying to hurt Kushina. Let's make him scream. Let's make him hollow in anguish. Let's show him just how minuscule his power is compared to ours." "Yes, let's," said Naruto. As Naruto's body exploded in flames. This was not any normal flames. Blue flames that just spread like a wildfire. The flames actually seemed to be burning the lava. Morio's face started to stretch past the normal limit of the body that he was in. As he was happy, this is what he was looking for. Now that was the man that he knew from long ago. The man that stood in front of the greatest, strongest beasts and forced them to flee. The man that was known to be a monster. The very definition of hell itself. The very flames that could burn everything within existence. That could burn the entire universe. Yes, those eyes. I could never forget those eyes. Those eyes that struck fear into the heart of everyone. I've been waiting for you. The return of the devil himself. Now I can finally have my rematch. Who is stronger? Me or you? The great Morio or... Naruto appeared behind him, cutting him off. Morio was confused. As the bud that he was in, markings appeared on it. The neck area exploded outwards. The hands were slashed outwards. The body was torn apart. As Yomi's body exploded, the head of Yomi flipped over as it grinned. "You're too late, because I'm here," said Morio. The chest area of Yomi exploded as a hand came out of it. A massive claw hand as Naruto stepped back, then another, and they started to grow in size. As two massive feet came out and stomped on the ground, a serpentine head came forward, with crimson glowing eyes, two massive wings on his back that were furled up because of how cramped the chamber was, because he was too large to remain in here anymore. Morio looked up. Well, how about we fight in a more open era, shall we? As he dried his hands and shattered the entire place, as the demon flew up in the sky with his wings. As Naruto stood there, the crashing caused the volcano to rise up, as everything started to shot up in the sky. Naruto's body erupted in blue flames before the ground underneath him was decimated and lava itself was burned away as he shot into the heavens after the demon. A few minutes earlier, Kushina was worried. As the place was shaking so violently, she knew that her sensei was strong, but still she felt that demon presence, and it was the vilest thing that she ever felt in her entire life. She's never felt such vile demonic power before. As she ran right into the priestess and her entourage who were trying to take her away. Yoshi and Samu, we have to get out of here. The mountain feels like it's about to erupt anytime now. But the woman pulled their arm away. You cowards, go and run and hide, she said. But I'm staying right here until that blonde-haired man is safe and sound. Even as we speak, he's in there fighting Morio, and you all want to run with your tails between your legs. Be my guest and go, but I'm staying right here. Kushina looked towards the woman. Her respect for her just grew several notches. The place started to shake until boom! Kushina's eyes went wide as a massive serpentine demon emerged with massive wings on his back. It roared and flew up to the heavens. That is when she felt a roaring power that exploded outwards. It was so violent that all of them were blown away. She used her chain to anchor her down as the priestess was caught by her guards holding her down. It was then that Kushina saw what was the effect. Blue roaring flames were flying up in the sky to go after the demon. The demon came to a stop. I finally returned, he said, as he roared to the heavens. Just in time for a wonderful match to take place. Let's see who is the strongest now between us. Naruto Oda, he yelled. As Naruto stood in front of him, blue flame blazing so hot. The air itself was burning. But guys, be subscribe right here. If you want the next part, then do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications he posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the other what ifs over in the other channels and enjoy those guys. And remember, for new to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the making family. And yeah guys, remember to also turn on that bell notification to see exactly when I post on what channel guys, because yeah, it's a lot. So without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.